right, party people, welcome back to another episode of Party XP. I'm your host, a very slightly less tired, but still tired, Jeff Katubi, joined by my friend Lakan. Say hi, Lakan.
Hi, Lakan. Dad's back with the milk.
How's it going?
He came back. I missed you.
To be honest, you are the only person, like, basically in our group that has seen me.
Yeah, basically, right in the last couple of weeks. It's been like I had to swing by your house a little while ago because of some phone issues. But yeah, like, I think I'm the only guy who was actually... No, John saw you last time. We passed by, and he came back in passing, remember?
No, yeah, and then I did see a few people, at a barbecue.
Oh, yeah, at our friend's birthday party. Yeah.
Right. But no, I should say you were the only person to see me in the house, the war zone.
True. Yeah, true, exactly.
With the baby.
Yeah.
So
I finally met Jeff's baby. He's adorable. He's big. He's a big boy.
He's a big boy.
A lot of hair.
Uh-huh.
How are you doing so far? You holding up?
Yeah, we're doing all right. We are like trying to count down until, well, at least I am.
Until he's out of the house. Got it. Okay.
Until daycare starts, and then we
Oh,
can,
yeah, real soon.
Yeah, so at least like we
yeah.
have a little bit of
Some breathing
break.
room.
Right. I can go to the gym and diet again and not just eat what it takes to keep me alive.
What are you talking about? This is the summer of the dad bod. What are you talking about? This
No.
is it. And now it's perfectly fair because you are a dad, so you can roll with the dad bod proper.
I feel like crap. So I just want to go back to some slight normalcy here, pre-baby normalcy. But it has been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I can't deny. Like it's been great, of course. So
it's wild seeing it. It was wild. Yeah, it was wild when I came over and I saw him, and I was like, oh man, like this is it. This is a tiny you and a tiny. Have you put your wife's name out here before?
No, tiny us.
Tiny you guys. yeah, exactly. It was great. So I got to see Jeff. Jeff's been dealing with dad stuff, but things are going well. I've been out of state the last 2 weekends in a row on personal trips and some fun stuff. I went down to Maryland, Virginia area for my birthday 2 weeks ago. That was fun. Just visited some friends. Got to see visit their kids as well too, because friends I don't see very often. You know what I mean? Because now once they started having kids, like now they got to travel across a couple states. It's like 3 hours in the car with a baby, and I was like, let's make it easy. I'm going to come down to you guys, and I'll just visit you guys, basically.
Exactly. It's a lot easier to have people come to you. But every once in a while, it is nice to get them out of the house. The big trip was to Costco this week.
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
so,
really adventurous now.
I know. Watch out. He likes the fridge and the freezers. Oh, good. So that was good.
Very similar to me. Like I was hanging out there perfectly fine.
Oh, it's great.
And then I was in Virginia Beach last week, and that was cool. It was a good time. I was there for like a church event, and we had a big old sports competition thing.
Cool.
I'm a dodgeball champion now.
Nice.
Yeah, that was fun. Tore my knee.
Great.
So everything hurts.
Yeah.
And we got to see a little bit of beach time because it was like from what I heard, it was basically the same thing up here where it was like storming like every couple hours basically. So I was like, cool. This is can't really enjoy the shore yet so far. I mean, like I haven't really had a proper like beach day yet. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, I'm due for one. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks we can enjoy a little bit of summer here
for sure.
Yeah, but yeah, it's been a pretty eventful couple of weeks for both of us.
If it makes you feel better, holding a 15-pound bowling ball for like 4 hours a day destroys your lower body. So I'm good. Like I'm on the same boat.
But the arms are looking good though. That's the thing.
Not really. Not as good as they could look. I'm not curling him.
you just start doing reps with them, right?
I'm about to start. I'm getting like cabin fever.
Getting soft here. You're getting soft. Come on, dude. You gotta keep the hard body going.
I know. All right. So with my sort of schedule in mind here, we're doing another ranking. We're gonna rank stuff again. That was a lot of fun. A couple weeks ago. If you haven't listened to it, go back and listen to our 1 year anniversary festivity episode. We ranked our personal top 5 favorite games. This week, we are ranking controllers because obviously it takes controllers to play games. Yeah. For the most part. And so I have a list of my favorites. You have a list of your favorites. And we actually did a list of our least favorites.
Yeah. Didn't want to add those on the end of it.
That I just kind of smudged together. And then we did sort of like I don't want to call it a third party because my controller specifically is not a third party. It's just not the ancillary controller, it's not the controller that is put in the box with the system.
Okay.
But it is still a first party peripheral.
Okay.
Just because, I don't know how, especially with like our gaming histories, and I mean we're dating ourselves back to like the early '90s and the mid '90s, where everybody and their mother was making controllers. It's going to be hard to be like, oh, remember like my camouflage Xbox original controller.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like nobody's gonna know what that is. I don't even know what it is.
With the whole third party thing, like I personally try to stay away from them because that's a deep rabbit hole. Like we've all heard of like the Mad Catz controller that everyone used to make fun of back in the day, and it's like. And then, again, there's a million other controllers that are like just as weird and wonky. I was like, there's too many. I'm just gonna go. For me personally, I kept mine to mostly first party ish, basically.
Right. Okay. So I think I kind of want to start at the bottom here.
Oh, you want to go worst controller?
I kind of want to start at the bottom.
Let's go with the worst controller first, and that's fine. I'll pull up my worst controller.
Right. Yeah, I kind of want to start at the bottom here because it just kind of seems like, I don't know, like it's at least we work our way up. To the top.
So we don't we can get our bad comments out of the way first. Right. I'm assuming we have a couple takes here that some people are gonna be angry with us about. But
I'm looking at yours. I am absolutely shocked at one of them.
Yeah.
Because I think if this is your list, we're gonna have a direct conflict towards the end here.
Okay.
But I do see two of them that are the same. So why don't you? Are these in order?
No, this is kind of like whatever order I thought. Like just whatever I was thinking of, and I was like, this is it, but it's not in particular like the worst to best. This is whatever. If we got something matching, we'll start with that first. Then if we want to do that.
Okay,
first.
So I'm gonna start here with I'm going to start with my number 5.
Okay.
If that's okay with you, because then my number 4 is on this list.
Okay, cool.
So I think we can kind of do that. We'll alternate, of course, but number 4 I think we'll both agree on. Don't use this one.
Got it. Okay.
By the way, Lakan's setup is like totally pimped out now, so we are actually looking at the same monitor right now. Like we're an actual fucking show here.
Yeah. We're sharing screens. He has access. He has a mouse and a keyboard, so he can type stuff as well too. If he needs to.
Already looking at hentai.
Please don't. This is my work laptop. I don't need this.
Oh, even better. All right. So this
don't do that one.
Don't do that one. Cool. Right. So I think number 5. It pains me to do this because I love this system and I love the controller for the most part. There's one facet of this controller that I cannot stand. So my number 5 worst controller, barely, is for the Sega Dreamcast, and it's only because the way that you have to hold this controller. I have big fat sausage hands. The grips on this controller are difficult to hold.
Okay.
And the triggers are a little uncomfortable. Everything else is awesome. I love the controller elsewise. Okay. I love the control stick. I love the raised control pad. The buttons are great.
Yeah, the buttons are good. It has Hall effect sensors on it.
Yeah. The VMU obviously is legendary. Yeah. It's just the way that this thing like sits in my big fat sausage hands.
It doesn't work for you.
That after a while, I will say after a while,
okay.
And if I'm playing fighting games, which is the majority of the games that I have acquired on my Dreamcast, after a while I start to like cramp up.
Gotcha.
For games like Sonic and like platformers, sports games. Okay. Yeah, usually it's okay if I don't have to like do many quick twitch sudden movements.
Gotcha. Okay. For you,
but that's it. Like it just kept on popping into my head. It's like I love the controller otherwise.
Okay, so this is your number 5 like worst controller.
Right. So it's like the best worst controller.
So I'm gonna go ahead and just we're arguing right off the bat then because this is up there on my best controller list.
No, I get it. I get why it would be. Yeah. All the other stuff
which is funny because you rattled off everything that I said, like why I like this controller so much.
Right.
But just for you, it hurts your hands after a while. Right. Basically. For me, like the grips on there, it's nice and deep. You know what I mean? But it's not super sharp, so it doesn't feel like you're kind of cutting your inside of your knuckles away from it, kind of thing. You know what I mean? I get that. Yeah. Yeah. But like again, the Hall effect use Hall effect sensors, so that way again it very very unlikely to drift over a long amount of time. The buttons are good. I love the buttons on there. They're like the perfect membrane to me. Like they're one of the best membranes anyway. And also good triggers, because they're not. I don't remember if they're analog or not, but they have a nice set of travel to them. Right. But not so much that like. I didn't put someone else, but the GameCube travel analog controller.
Yes.
Like I don't like those.
Okay.
So like, but they travel a lot. So it's like it makes a lot of sense if you have a game that uses it. But like those ones are almost kind of like an Xbox style travel trigger. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, I get
so for me, I'm my top are in no particular order. But the Dreamcast for me is like I also spend the least amount of time with it. But in my opinion, it's probably one of my favorite controllers of like the ones that I've spent the least amount of time with.
If this thing was just a little beefier and if the triggers were like up a little more,
a little higher, okay.
It wouldn't be on this list.
Yeah. So our hands are relatively similar size. I think your hands are just a little bit bigger than mine. So maybe hand placement, hand size, ergonomics. Yeah, it's just a little bit different for both of us, basically. Then.
Right.
Yeah, because for me, like I would argue it's about my favorite controllers, and again for you, one of the best bad controllers, basically. In your opinion. Yeah.
Right. No, I love this controller. I also think there's like some magic to it. I don't know what it is, but when I hold the Dreamcast controller, I get happy because I love the system so much. It's just after a while, it's like, man, I'm like my hands start cramping up.
It's so weird because you these are your battles on my good list. My one comment that I don't like about the controller is that the cable is on the bottom of the controller.
That's
like
downfall.
my only real complaint.
That is
because
a downfall.
which is stupid because like it has a cable run on the back of the controller, so clearly they're trying to feed the controller cable back up. It's like then just put it at the top.
Right, but they had to put the VMU.
The VMU in there, yeah. So it's like there's hardware in there. They needed space for it. It's like you just made it so annoying.
I do agree with that.
But like again, from my opinion, like probably one of the best controllers in my opinion. So there you go.
Okay. So
right off the bat, knocked off one of each already so far.
Yeah, for sure. Okay.
Okay. Oh yeah. So we're trying to go with our worst, or it is bad controllers. Okay,
yeah, we're gonna start with bad controllers.
Yeah,
so
I'm gonna go with mine right here. Yeah, you're hovering over right now.
Okay.
The PS3 controller.
Yeah, I dig this.
Okay, cool. So the PS1, PS2 controller, PS3. So those are essentially the same controller, right? I've actually got them here for me. If you want to go ahead and want to get your hands on them, it's been a while. So that's a PS1 controller, right?
Right.
Feels exactly the same as the PS2 controller, and feels relatively similar to the PS2 controller. So like PS1 controller is actually an honorable mention on my thing because it is the first dual analog stick controller. Like that, we have Sony to thank for that, basically.
Still feels good.
Still feels good. Honestly, great. Like it's like so. Back in the day, I can put like 2 fingers or put my whole hand back here and kind of be up here, right?
Yeah.
But now my hand's a little bigger. 2 fingers is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
The PS2 controller is what annoys me about it is that it's a little bit wider, which is great because again we're bigger. Like we're older than when we were playing the PS1, so our hands are bigger, so you have a little more space there, right? My issue with the PS3 the PS3 controller, specifically DualShock 3, the 6-axis, whatever you want to call it, right? So again, everything's basically the same, but the worst offender is the fucking curved triggers.
Yeah.
But not curved like a trigger, it's curved inwards. So your finger slides off of it.
Yep.
And it's so stupid that so many companies started making third-party little attachments to clip onto the triggers so that they curved outwards, like the Xbox controller or the current PS4 and PS5
or like
controller.
anything on God's earth with a trigger.
Exactly. Curved away so that there's like a cup for your finger to rest upon, right? Here, I don't know if it wasn't the last time you held a PS3 controller.
It's been a little while, but I know it sucks. Don't worry.
Yeah. Like it's not great.
No,
it's an analog trigger, which is cool, but it feels so bad to use.
I can already feel like even just putting a little bit of pressure, like you can hear it.
Yeah, it just slaps away. So these things, I have these little. I think those are official Sony clips, which is funny because they had to retcon themselves essentially, right? It's fine, don't worry about it. Just throw them on. It's fine. Just throw on the right trigger, so you know what it feels like to shoot, to shoot in a game, right? I think it's a clip. Let me pass it over. You got it?
Yeah,
there you go.
So. Okay, this is
better.
Better.
But imagine if you panic and you pull hard on it.
And then it goes flying.
Do it right now. It comes off. It's this. It's the. I think again. I'm pretty sure that's official. Don't worry. I will find it later.
Yeah, it's right there.
Oh, it's near me. Okay, cool. So they're great that they added. Or good idea that they tried adding.
leave all of this.
Everything's going wrong. we thought we were happy. We were rolling, and now everything's going wrong. Everything's falling apart. So these little add-ons are cool that they added there. They clearly acknowledged an issue and they did it themselves. The answer to their issue is also not good.
Right. Correct.
Like it falls off of the trigger. It sucks. So again, and I'm a Sony guy. Like I love the Sony controller. I love the PlayStation controllers. The PS3 again is basically if it just did the same thing as the previous controllers, and if it wasn't an analog L2R2, it would be fine. But the fact that they curved inwards, and again, didn't leave a nice little scoop for your finger to rest on, and your finger slipped off the damn thing, makes it genuinely one of the worst controller experiences I ever had. And I remember I was one of those guys who was like, everyone in our crew was an Xbox 360 basically. It was like me and my brother, and even then he kind of left me. I was like the only PS3 guy in our crew, and I was like, guys, I swear, the PS3 is a great console. Controller's not.
The controller sucks.
But the console's good. The console's good. I was one of those guys basically, and I was like, I still to this day, I did an episode with John, the Prince of Persia episode with John 2 episodes ago, right? Yeah, like I was like, man, using this thing sucks. Like that's the one thing I could think of basically. And I was like, I came back. The PS3 is still hooked up right now. I'm still enjoying the PS3. I was like, yeah, this is a good experience, except for this stupid fucking trigger. It sucks so hard.
Yep. This was basically number 6 on my list. Like it was between the Dreamcast. It just gave me an excuse to be like, listen, I don't hate all the things about the Dreamcast. It's just this one, these one little things. This is the one thing about it.
And it's one thing, but again, it's the thing you almost thing you interact with most, the trigger.
Especially now, because how many shooting
games you play, racing games that use the analog trigger to accelerate and stuff like that. It's your first point of contact almost for a lot of games, or at least the most important point of contact for a lot of games. And the fact that they made it so bad genuinely puts this at the bottom of my list, basically. If I had to hard rank anything, this is probably it. Because, again, the thing you interact with the most, and it's the worst thing.
Yep.
Basically.
Agreed.
Cool. Rant over.
Good.
I got 4 more rants coming.
Good. All right. So my number 4, I see it on here too. It's the Nintendo 64 controller. I don't know what the hell they were thinking.
Yeah. This is a dumb controller. This is on my list as well. We can agree on this controller.
Yeah, this was made for children because using this as an adult is probably the least comfortable experience of all time.
Yeah.
I really I don't know what Nintendo was on with this. I will say the Z button was cool. The shoulder buttons are pretty cool.
The shoulder buttons feel fine. The Z button, trigger button, feels fine. It's just that why the weird tripod unicorn looking thing?
Right. It looks like you're inserting this into 3 different people.
Yeah, it's strange. You know what it reminds me of? It's like because if you look at it and you take away the middle grip, right? It just looks like a plain controller, basically.
Correct.
Right? But for some reason they added a Wiimote into the Wii nunchuck into the middle of this controller, basically.
Before they knew what the Wii was.
Yeah.
They added it into the smack dab, and they gave it basically a dick.
Yeah. It's how are you supposed to? And again, early on, I was like, how do I hold this controller? And then if you have a game that involves your D-pad, I would do the weird snake my pointer over the controller and use my thumb to still use the analog stick, and then use my pointer to hit up, left, and down and right on the D-pad. I was like, this is stupid. I hate this. I'm using claw grip before claw grip was a thing, basically.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It sucked. I hated this thing.
Yeah, and I mean introducing the 6 face buttons in their own special way, of course, because it's Nintendo.
Of course, yeah.
It couldn't just be A and B and then X and Y and then C and X or C and Y or whatever. I don't know, C and Z. It had to be the C button. So you have 3 control methods on this thing.
Yeah. So and the thing is they were still kind of trying to figure out movement at this time, I think.
Yeah.
So so ignoring Mario 64 because I think that hadn't moved even to this day, as kind of janky it is now, it's still a pinnacle of 3D movement, right?
It is. Oh yeah.
So there are other games that used the C buttons, the up, down, left, right C buttons on the right side of the controller for movement.
Turok.
Not for aiming. Turok. Rainbow Six, the original Rainbow Six game.
Yeah.
It was it just didn't make sense back. They were still trying to figure it out at the time. GoldenEye, I think you used the left, but I think you turned right with the C stick with the analog stick. It's been a while since I played it.
Yeah.
But a lot of the platformers, the platformers are cool. They had it right. The thumbstick's right there, perfectly fine for it. And then they used the C button for camera movement as well sometimes too. It's it's so stupid. It's such a weird, dumb device, and it's uncomfortable to use.
And then how can you use your left hand to control the thumbstick and then hit the L button?
Yeah, exactly. So one button's just completely gone to you basically altogether. Yep. Again, for me, I end up doing the weird snaking, wrap my hand around kind of. I'm giving myself carpal tunnel now as an adult, but as a kid, it was why would I just did it? And I was oh yeah, sure, because I'm a dumb kid who has flexibility still. You know what I mean?
Right.
But even then, it's too big for your hands to use.
Yep.
You can't be reaching up that way basically.
Exactly.
And we know this for a fact that now with modern sensibilities, people remake this controller in the Brawler 64 setup. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's okay, cool. You put the thumbstick where it's supposed to be, put the D-pad next to that. And now you have a pro controller, basically.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's and I have 2 of those controllers. I have Hyperkin and Brawler 64. And it's I love going back to some of these N64 games and playing this with essentially a modern shaped controller. I'm
right.
Why didn't they do this in the first place?
Yeah.
But again, Nintendo had to be Nintendo and do dumb shit. And I think I've read a couple, and I still don't know exactly why they did it, but I've read multiple articles on oh, this is why they did it. This is why they wanted to do this. They want to emphasize this. I'm none of these make any sense to me.
Right.
Even as a grown ass man, I'm I can't even do the mental gymnastics to try to get this controller to fit in that kind of mentality. No way.
Typical Nintendo.
Yeah.
Basically.
Exactly. Okay, so for my end, then we're gonna go. I'm just gonna go in order, I guess, of where I listed it. I'm just gonna go left to right here, ignoring the N64 because I was just again, I'm not really numbering mine. It's funny because there's like a love-hate thing here, but like it's just a bad controller. I will admit it's a bad controller. I love this thing, but it's a bad controller.
Yeah.
I don't know if y'all remember the Duke.
Yeah, the first original Xbox controller, the big fat hamburger controller.
Yeah. So our friend group called it the hamburger. I don't know if other people did or not. But like Xbox called it the Duke. I think was the actual like code name of the controller. Basically, it's just too much. It's just too big. It's so they had the stick placement kind of right, and like the weird thumbstick that was kind of like a rocker D-pad dump. Yeah. I don't like that. I'm not a huge fan of those. And then like 6 buttons again. Yeah, another 6-button controller. Now I think about it. So the triggers are fine. The triggers are like again kind of like sit where they're supposed to be, right? Yes. Behind the controller. You can't see them if you're looking at the front of the Duke because it's massive. But correct. They have ABXY, but it's like angled in the wrong way.
They're ovals. They're not circles.
Yeah,
they're ovals.
They're ovals. They're like pill shaped, and they're angled like diagonally top left to bottom right. And it's like you have to do it because it's too big. They have to do it because of like ergonomics. So clearly they knew they had to already, not cut corners, but like innovate somewhere here and innovate for the wrong reasons. And then on top of it, they have 2 more face buttons, the black and white button, that were above those 2.
Yes.
On a giant controller.
Uh-huh.
Which means, like, have fun trying to reach these things.
Yep.
It is funny because, like, there are controllers that were, like, third-party. Gabe had a GameStop controller, a wireless GameStop original Xbox controller that had the white and black button on the shoulders.
That's the one that I was talking about.
Yeah. Like, they were ahead of their time, knowing that having the 2 bumpers... Well, I mean, not ahead of the time because technically Sony already did it. But you know what I mean?
Right.
Like we already know these have to be here. You know what I mean? We have shoulder bumpers and then triggers. Like so, they basically the aftermarket controller did it right basically before Xbox did,
and it was modeled after like what would eventually be the S controller, which was the smaller, more like ergonomically shaped original Xbox controller, which is what I have at home. I never actually got the Duke. By the time I got my original Xbox, they had already replaced the Duke with the S controller, which is a smaller like controller here. I'm gonna just show it to you, just because I don't know if you know. Well, you've seen it.
Yeah, right? No, I have them. I still have 4 of them here in this side cabinet over here.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see here. Xbox original or whatever. Yeah. There you go. Right there. Yep. I've got 4 of these guys here.
Yeah. So you know what this is all about.
Yeah. So the better version of it, again, looks more like closer to the modern Xbox controller we see today, but still only the triggers on the back of it. But the black and white buttons, instead of being on the top, they moved them down to the bottom,
closer to where your natural thumb movement.
Yeah, near where your thumb meat kind of goes.
And usually these buttons were saved outside of like CVS2, where they were your heavy attacks.
Yeah.
They were usually saved for just like ancillary
utility
options,
stuff,
right?
Like flashlights in some games, you know what I mean, stuff like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I look at this controller. And this is the modern blueprint for like the current Xbox controller.
Correct.
Basically, they no longer angled the buttons, the face buttons anymore, because the controller's not massive.
That's also dumb, by the way.
Yeah, it was very stupid.
I will say one thing about the Duke.
Okay.
I thought it was pretty cool that they had the concave for the movement. I just hit the microphone. We're professionals. And then the convex.
Mostly convex. Yeah. Like had a little nub in the middle, but like for the most part, it was kind of arced. Yeah.
Right, because they knew that was what you were using to aim with.
Yeah. So you want like able to pull it down or push it up if you needed to.
Correct.
More readily, basically.
Yep. I'm a big fan of the raised D-pad. So, but I do like the S controller's D-pad better than the again, like the concave kind of weird D-pad.
It's weird because like the Duke had like a weird, a little lumpy. You know what I mean?
I can see that.
Because I have the Hyperkin, the remade Duke in my brother's room, right? And it's like I remember plugging it into to play like Hollow Knight, and I'm like, I can't do this. My hands hurt trying to hold it. First off, my arms are tired because the thing's heavy.
Oh yeah,
and like trying to use the D-pad on that thing is a terrible experience.
Oh yeah,
because again, like so think of it as like a warped pizza pan kind of thing, basically. And like there's up, down, left, and right. And they kind of like arc up and down like a wave, and it's like it's so terrible, and I hate it so much. It's just not a good D-pad, and it's arguably one of the worst D-pads probably ever made on a controller.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Yeah, I remember using this pretty heavily. I was out in Illinois visiting friends and family, and my friend had this. Okay. Yeah. So I played like an hour of Enter the Matrix with this thing, and I was like, God Almighty, this is tough.
Yeah, this is a rough controller, and again, like I like love it because it has like so much personality to it.
It does. It is. It's like, such a cool controller.
But it's an abomination. It's like I'm trying to play this thing. Trying to play anything with this controller.
So it's funny, man. Like to me, this looks so much like the Dreamcast controller, but you hate this one and you love the Dreamcast.
Yeah, I don't know what you know what it is, because it's so much more than the Dreamcast controller.
I think you're right.
What I mean, because the Dreamcast feels a little narrow on the grips. I get it, but this is too much. Like now, like again, I've got decent sized hands. Like this is like even with my hands, I'm struggling to to hold on to this thing comfortably. Yep. Basically, I think that's what it is. But yeah, like again, like just it's a dumb controller. It's a bad controller. But like I I love this thing at the same time. Basically.
Yep. I know.
Which is funny because again, it leads to one of the one of everybody's favorite controllers of all time. Just down the line, basically.
Right, for sure.
Through evolution, through Pokemon evolution.
God, this is the Magikarp to Gyarados.
Exactly. Yeah, this is it.
So, all right. My number 3 worst controllers of all time. You're gonna. I don't think you're gonna like me. I don't think people are gonna like me for this one. It's the Wii remote and the nunchuck. I'm tired. I'm tired of motion controls. Man.
Okay,
motion controls can go to hell, especially like if you have to, make me play like platformers with motion controls. Go to hell.
Okay. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I can kind of. I didn't put it on my list, but I am currently playing Super Mario Galaxy, and it's like.
Don't make me point at the goddamn screen. Just let me use the right stick.
Yeah.
Like, go to hell.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, the motion controls, they had its time, and it was like it's fun for certain things, but like anything aside from like those motion involved games.
Anything outside of Wii bowling and tennis.
Yeah, like anything that you kind of just do naturally is like it feels very uncomfortable, very unnatural. I can agree with you on that one. Even like then, right? Think of the fact that they re-released Mario Galaxy and Skyward Sword on the Switch with like modernized controls. You know what I mean? Because they're like, we know you can play with them with the Joy-Con swinging around if you want to,
right?
But like, just keep it on with a regular controller and just play the game. You know what I mean? Like, because again, there was no real change in terms of like gameplay if you just put the controls back onto the controller.
Yeah, it's self-explanatory. Yes. Motion controls suck. I'm tired of them.
Yeah.
Don't make me have to use
little stuff. I think I like little motion stuff, like gyro aiming. I'm cool with that. But like, yeah, if the whole controller's focus is to move all the time, it's annoying.
Right. And for me, like the two things were like the wonky controls playing the Wii sports games. Donkey Kong Country Returns, where that's how you roll.
Yeah,
you roll.
You have to shake it to roll.
Yeah, you have to constantly be rolling this thing. So
Mario Galaxy, you shake it to spin.
Correct.
To spin attack with Mario Galaxy.
Right, which then also goes into Mario Odyssey, where you have to flick the controller up to do the hat throws.
Yeah, which is like, I understand why they're doing that. You can got their own directions, but it's like it's not.
It's wonky.
Yeah,
it's always wonky. It's never executed properly, and this is the worst version of that.
Like the roll, like the butt slam roll thing is fine because you're just kind of shaking it. You know what I mean? But to like throw the hat like in specific directions is really annoying.
Yeah,
no, I get you. Yeah, again, motion controls, like they've had their time. They've had their time, and they were a thing.
Yep.
Minor motion control stuff, cool with it, but like if it's a major movement point, it gets real tiring real fast.
Gotcha.
I get you. I'm with you on this one.
Okay, I'm gonna request that you go this one.
Oh, okay, cool.
Because this is gonna be the next one that we talk about.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. So this one over here, I know I'm gonna get an angry message from one of our friends on this one. But the Sega Genesis controller, either one, the 6-button or the 3-1, I hate both of them. So I had a Genesis growing up as well too. I had all the consoles. I had an NES, an SNES, and a Genesis, and so on and so forth. I missed out on the Sega Saturn and all this other stuff, but like the Genesis I had, right? Mm-hmm. And first off, especially then, like not enough buttons for fighting games.
Yeah.
So like so first off, I hated the fact that they made two different controllers that had like different like availability basically for stuff, right? Like because with the console you got the 3-button one. That's all you got. You had to buy the other controller with the 6 buttons on it. That was like an add-on type of deal. So I experienced like I'm trying to think of anything. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the fighting game. I forgot what it's called.
Tournament Fighters.
Tournament Fighters, yeah.
Yep.
So that came out on both consoles, SNES and
oh god, that
Sega.
shitty Genesis one.
Yeah, the Genesis one was, and I remember saying like I hated that game on the Genesis, and then like I remember I think was it you who had
it's me.
So you had it on the SNES, right? So you argued that the game was great on the SNES, right? Yeah, and I was like. Okay, so I remember eventually, like, I came over to your house and I played. I was like, whoa, this is way different.
This is not my game.
Yeah, absolutely not, because I'm missing a fuck ton of buttons, basically.
Right. and bitchin' soundtrack and
exactly, and just all the better alternative stuff, basically, because the SNES was a better console.
Oh, I'm listening to that soundtrack tonight.
Yeah, so good. I'm gonna say it right now, yes. Like that version was so much better because again, it just played better. You had more buttons available to you, and it made sense in terms of like a fighting game because you had 4 face buttons at least at the very minimum, and then your 2 shoulder buttons. Did that game have fierce attacks? I don't remember if it did or not.
No, I think it was a 4-button fighter. I don't remember what.
So it was like weak light, basically, right? Okay, cool. So there you go. But it made sense. And again, you didn't have to buy a secondary controller that had 6 buttons on it. Like I know that they did it for the Saturn and the Sega and all that stuff, but it's like. If you're like a dumb kid and your parents who don't really know anything about consoles, they just buy you the controller that they see and the one that they've already seen before. They're not going to look around for other stuff because, why would they? Like, why would they?
Only if they're going to save money.
Exactly, and like a lot, especially back then, they were like, "Oh, the cheap one." But then you hear us complaining about it. Like, yeah, shut up and just deal with it, right?
Right.
But no, like this controller, and also the D-pad on this thing, I hate
the floating D-pad.
I hate the floating D-pad. I like that's like a big thing for me. And also, it's so damn sharp. I played the Sega recently, the Genesis recently, and I remember just like feeling like my thumb is like sore because I'm pressing right and then down a lot, and I can just feel the corner of the right of the D-pad just jamming me. It's like it is a hard like perfectly cubed corner.
Yep.
It's like pressing on the side of like a dresser like all day basically, and it sucks. Like this is a terrible D-pad. I don't care what anyone says. All these like enthusiasts who played the Sega Genesis. It is a garbage D-pad. It's a garbage controller. Suck my ass. I hate this thing.
I won't fight you on it. I will not fight you.
Because again, the SNES had one of the best D-pads ever.
Yep.
Why would I ever use the Sega? Like, there's a reason why I have more games on my SNES because I played it because it didn't hurt me.
Right.
Like, why does the Sega Genesis hate its player base?
Yep. Yep. Agreed.
Sucky controller. Fuck you guys. You know who you are.
Yep.
You know who you are.
On that note, number 2, we have this on both of our lists. Okay. Thank God. So just to preface this too, I've only included controllers that I've had the misfortune of using.
Same, yeah.
And I've had the misfortune of using this for a short time, but it left an impact on me forever. And that's the Virtual Boy controller.
Yeah.
This thing sucks. This thing sucks balls. I mean, it's ugly. It's uncomfortable. Why are there 2 control pads on the thing? Again, Nintendo with these giant dildos on the sides of the controllers. I don't understand what they're trying to do here.
It's so funny because like now nowadays we beg for like generous grips, right? So like with the modern sensibility, I look back at the time like that's not a bad idea. Like it's a big comfortable grip, and then I held one. I was like, it's not shaped for anybody's hand.
No,
that's the thing. It's like the idea is good. That the grip is there, real generous versus the super sharp rectangle NES controller, but whose hand is this for? It's such a weird shape. It's uncomfortable to hold. God, I hate that.
So
thing.
yeah, and then you have to like fish for the buttons, but you can't look for them because your face is in the stupid Virtual Boy.
Exactly. So like because like at least with the NES controllers, like I know exactly where this is because you didn't change anything. But then they gave you this with 2 D-pads. They moved the A and B a little bit further in, and they're angled. So like back in the day, that'd be insane, right? That's like such a minor change would be like groundbreaking back then. Mm-hmm. And then they put the start and select button on the left side,
right?
So like again, you're feeling around now for things that you're not used to, and like they have this just giant block in the middle that kind of digs into the back of your knuckles too.
Yep.
Like this thing sucks.
And God forbid your finger slips and you hit select, and that does something in the game that you're playing.
Yeah.
Or heaven forbid you hit start and like in the middle of what you're doing.
Yeah. This thing, even just looking at it just makes me like uncomfortable. Like I don't look at it.
It sucks. Yeah. I just want to. I just look at it.
It looks like a close up of like a fly. Like on like a front, like you see this picture right here, the one right here right in the middle, just like a front facing. It looks like a fly with like his mandibles and shit. You know what I mean? It looks like that.
Yeah,
I don't like it. And also, it's funny. I'm gonna say that. It relates to a controller that just missed the list for me. I argued for the N64 controller. This led to the abomination that is the GameCube controller.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So for GameCube controller fans, okay, I'm gonna call it out. The Smash community, fuck you guys for holding on to this stupid GameCube controller. Okay, fuck you guys. I've moved on. I played Smash. I played Brawl with the nunchuck, the Wiimote and the nunchuck, and I was beating y'all motherfuckers with your shitty ass GameCube controllers. Okay, fuck you and your analog triggers. Fuck you. The controller sucks. It's not a good controller. Okay.
Oh my god. I'm just watching like your microphone go up and it's like in the red. I've never seen this thing turn red before.
So you see what I mean? The DNA though, the controller's there.
Oh yeah.
These stupid shitty curved like grips basically on the side of the controller that's not made for anybody's fucking hands. And this shitty controller led to another shitty controller, the GameCube controller. The only reason why the GameCube's not here is because the Virtual Boy's on here.
Yep.
Like I let the GameCube slide because this is the reason why the GameCube exists.
Okay.
The GameCube controller exists.
Okay.
That's gonna make somebody angry as well too. I already know. That's perfectly fine. You know what? Fuck you too. I don't care.
Okay. There we go. Okay. All right. Do you want to wrap up here?
Yeah, because I was 1, 2. Is this my last one? Yes. Okay. So this is my last controller, and I have opinions on this one as well too. I hate this controller. Like it's a modern controller.
You should probably tell people what it is.
Yeah, it's the Xbox One or the Xbox Series controller.
Okay.
I know people love this controller. A lot of people swear that this is like the best controller currently out on the market. There's again same thing. It could be a decent controller, but there's one issue with this controller that ruins my entire experience for me.
Okay.
Because again, we acknowledge that it's the original. The Duke was the Magikarp, which leads to the quote unquote Gyarados, right? The best version of that controller down the line, right? But there's one thing in this controller that I hate is that the slant on the top of this controller is too fucking narrow. It feels like it's falling out of my hands all the time.
Okay.
So I have a controller here. I'm gonna grab it here right now. Use it as an example. So this is a controller that I bought. It is the Gully Kit controller. So technically this is meant for the Switch and PC, right?
Okay.
They also made one for the Xbox, I believe. But
it looks like an Xbox One controller.
Yeah, it's an Xbox controller. The only reason why I bought it is because this is the first easily accessible Hall effect controller.
Okay.
So the non-drift sticks, basically, right? And I know everyone else shapes the controller like the Xbox controllers. The Wii, the Switch Pro controller is shaped like an Xbox controller, basically, right? A lot of third-party shady controllers are shaped like Xbox controllers, and the staggered sticks is fine. I prefer parallel. That's not an issue for me. My issue is up here. It feels so narrow that like I'm basically colliding my fingers up top, and then especially with these guys on the bumpers, I like to be up on my controller. And again, it just feels like, and I'm kind of doing this as a demonstration, but like it feels like it's sliding. If I don't have my hands like clamped on this thing, it feels like it's sliding out of my hands all the time. And like that's, again, it's like a one design detail that ruins my experience in terms of like what makes a good or a bad controller. The PS3 controller, exactly the same as the PS1 and PS2, except for one thing, the shitty trigger.
Yep.
For the Xbox controller, it's a good controller, except for the fact that it feels like I'm gonna drop it at any moment. And they're doing this like, this whole textured paint bullshit, and I'm like, it doesn't matter because it still feels like it's gonna slip out of my hand, and now I have an uncomfortable fucking divot in my hand from the stupid patterns you have on the side of your grips, basically.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So for me, I do not like the Xbox One, Xbox Series controllers. The Xbox 360 controller is peak Xbox Microsoft controller. I will just state that right now, basically.
I won't fight you on that.
There you go.
Okay.
Not wrong.
I'm not wrong.
I'm not wrong. Everyone else
You're
is
wrong.
wrong. You're wrong. Everyone's dumb but me.
Right. I'm relieved that you don't have this on your list because nobody should have to experience my number one controller.
Mm-hmm.
It is, without a doubt, the worst controller of all time. It is the Atari Jaguar controller.
Oh, okay. I've seen these. I've never held one, so I've never experienced it.
You talk about an uncomfortable controller.
What the fuck is this?
Yeah, you talk about an uncomfortable controller full of buttons that
looks like a phone.
Yeah. Okay. So first of all, this is the worst D-pad in video games.
Is it a floating D-pad as well too?
I don't know. It always feels like it's smushed into the controller.
Oh, it's like a negative space. Like it's not raised.
No, I don't believe so. It always kind of feels like it's smushed into the controller.
That's bad.
The buttons are just awful. I mean, the buttons are basically, they feel like they're buttons that you would press on like a piece of hardware, not a video game controller.
It looks like a phone. That's what I'm saying.
No, not even the number pad. Okay, so for people that haven't looked at this thing, go just look it up on Google, and you'll see what I'm saying here. So the D-pad is not raised; it's
indented almost. It looks like
it is. It feels like it's always stuck. It feels like that you always have Cheeto dust in your control pad. Fuck. My phone is just falling all over the place. The buttons, the three face buttons, you have a C, a B, and an A. Not A, B, C. You have C, B, A.
So it's backwards already.
So it's backwards from your normal conventions. The buttons are super uncomfortable. They feel like it's on the side of like a leaf blower or something. They're not responsive to playing video games. And then you have a full phone keypad on there. Like a phone keypad.
Yeah, that's weird.
1 through 9, pound and star. Who are you making phone calls to?
It looks like a phone.
There's
no
no
first thing that popped in my head.
There's no online thing. The back of the controller is also super uncomfortable. You're basically holding like I don't even know what to call this. You're basically holding an alarm clock.
Do you have a picture of the back of this thing? I'm curious. I want to see what's this online.
Yeah, I'm sure if we just look up the back controller back. Yeah, and the back's not comfortable either. You're basically like I said, you're basically holding like an alarm clock.
Yeah,
I don't know how else to describe this thing. It's the worst. It's
Gross.
the worst controller. And I don't remember what I played. I want to say I played Street Fighter 2 on this thing.
I'm sorry for you. I'm so sorry. I'm surprised you're a fighting game fan. This would ruin me. I would just be like, no, fighting games are dumb. I'm about to use this piece of shit.
I want to say, okay, it looks like it was Street Fighter Alpha. It was like the first Street Fighter Alpha game was on this thing. I do remember it was a Street Fighter game because I was like, I have to see. This was after the fact. I mean, we were like adults.
Yeah.
I remember just seeing it. I want to say it was at like one of the arcade places.
Okay.
And they had one, and I'm like, I gotta see.
Yeah,
I gotta see what this is all about. And I remember putting in a Street Fighter game. I could have sworn it was Street Fighter 2, Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. It might have been Street Fighter Alpha. I don't really remember. All I know, this thing sucks. And I hate this fucking thing. I hate it more than the Virtual Boy because it sucks.
Yeah.
And that's why Atari went out of the gaming market,
yeah,
the console gaming market.
Bad ideas.
Because this thing sucks, and I hate it.
Yeah. Again, it also sucks because it reminds me of a Sega with the 3 buttons thing. Same thing.
Right.
Terrible. Yeah. What are all the buttons for? Like the little. So think of like the little buttons as like again like the start select button typical like you see of the ones back in the day, right?
Right.
What is this for? Like what do you use those for?
I don't know. I don't remember.
So
I don't remember
I
don't remember if you use them to like actually input moves. Like if they were action buttons. What if they were just option menu navigation?
Maybe something. I don't know. It's gotta be something.
Maybe there was some sort of functionality with the system. I don't know.
Yeah, you can call up Atari directly and just complain to them about the shit
controller. Shit sucks. Exactly. All right. That's my number one. Fuck this thing.
Yeah.
Fuck this whole system.
One honorable mention for me for bad controller setups: touch screens. Stop.
Yeah.
Like my friends who got into like phone gaming and stuff like that. I'm like I can't because I don't want to fucking do it. I lose like a third of my I lose like a third each of my screen to touch controls.
Right.
Now my fat ass thumbs are in the way. I can't see a damn thing.
Yep.
And also trying to shoot. Like skill issue. No, fuck you. It's a bad control scheme.
Right.
Fuck you. I will hook up a controller to my phone than suffer through a shitty phone layout basically.
Agreed.
Yeah, no, absolutely not.
Okay.
So now we're done shitting on controllers here.
Yep.
We're gonna go over to the good side. We're gonna talk about the controllers that we actually enjoy.
Right. Do you
do we have anything that lines up here for us or no?
Do you want to do like your other like the third quote unquote third party?
Oh yeah, I have one here just to because this one I do remember. I don't remember if I played it, but I remember seeing this one. And I don't know if you've seen this yet, but this is an abomination. Pulling this up on my screen.
I don't know. Oh, what is this?
So this is called the Neji-Con. Not the other way. Neji-Con. So this was a controller made by Namco for PlayStation. And so it looks like two like halves of controllers, right, that are like kind of attached together right in the middle with a big old circle. Yeah, that spins. The controller rotates on each other, and you would think, oh, this was made for racing game. Like, well, they made it for racing games, and you would think, oh, they made it so like kind of like the RC cars, you could spin, to accelerate. No, it's for turning.
Oh, it sucks.
Yeah. So like when like so the Wiimote or like the Switch or whatever the motion, it's like okay, you tilt, it's whatever, it's fine, right? But you're not twisting anything. It's pretty. Like it makes sense in like even like a kid's mind, right?
Right.
This thing is like no, you're twisting left and right to turn the car basically, and it's dumb because again it's not intuitive. Because again, tilting a Wiimote to left makes you go left. This one's like no, you're like twisting in opposite directions essentially to turn your car left or right. It is very dumb. And it's ugly looking.
Yeah, this sucks.
Yeah, and I want to say I've at least had the discomfort of touching this controller once. I want to say it's like a buried memory, and I'm like I want to say.
I don't blame you,
but I do remember seeing these, especially in the Philippines, because like in Asia you get to see a lot more of the weirder controllers that were from Japan. You know what I mean? So you probably wouldn't see this in the U.S. basically. Yeah, you can see in the picture, the description picture right there on the bottom left, right? It's just like it turns.
Critical reception for the Neji-Con was highly positive, being praised for its responsive control in games and unique design. What?
Yeah, they can suck my ass too. Like, I'm putting the people who enjoy this controller in the same people that enjoy the Sega Genesis controller.
Yeah,
like you're dumb and everything you've said is stupid. And you're stupid. Just get away.
Yeah, it looks like shit.
Stay away from me.
Yep.
Like, okay, sure. If it feels good, sure, fine, whatever. It's still a dumb controller. Like, no one needs this.
Yeah, this sucks.
Like, again, if it was, I thought it was kind of cool. Like, oh, it's like an RC car. You're like, oh, that's kind of funny. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a weird kind of novelty control. No, people played racing games on this thing. It's so dumb.
Thanks.
And again, because I was thinking, it's like, oh, it's like a cool way it's a cool idea to do analog early. You know what I mean? Because like, okay, instead of using a controller like a stick, it's like, okay, you have a big old wheel to mess around with. Everyone knows what a wheel feels like. Okay, that's gonna be your analog, like your accelerator. No, it's for turning. It's so stupid.
Yeah, how would you even? So like, what do you turn?
So you twist. If I remember correctly, you twist. Like, think of it as you're kind of leaning into it. You're like you're left, you lean left. You're right, you lean right. Basically.
Okay.
Yeah, it's weird. There's videos on YouTube, and it's funny because then they praise it too. Again, you're wrong.
Like, you're just wrong.
Your opinion is wrong. I don't care. Fuck you.
This sucks.
Like I tried not to do the whole. Everyone's have their own opinion. No, this is an actual wrong opinion. This thing sucks.
Yeah. So I just picked a good third party, or not third party, but like a good alternate controller that doesn't come in the box.
Okay.
And that's the Xbox Elite controller. I just thought that it was really cool to have a controller that's fully customizable, made by the company itself. So it's not like a scuff. It's not a third party doing all this. It's a first party, pimped out controller, basically.
Yeah. My only argument against the Xbox Elite controller is that you're spending how much for a controller?
That was a lot, like $200.
Yeah, for what? Back 4 triggers or 4 back, like 4
customizable triggers,
and then adjustable height and tension thumbsticks
and a different D-pad.
That's not $200 worth.
And it's comfortable, and you can set the triggers.
Yeah, my complaint is that's not $200 worthy to me.
Yeah.
Like again, I know people like them because for me, like, and again, I'm gonna sound like a Sony fanboy here, but I have a. This actually perfectly lead into one of my favorite controllers. Here. So this will lead into one of my favorite controllers. Again, this is Jeff's like technically his first party, but it's like one of the best alternative controllers for him.
Yeah.
Little attachment on the back of the PS4 button. This is officially made by Sony. Officially works for Sony. Has its own software in there. It powers off from that, and I have proper triggers on the side or a back pedal specifically, right? But it doesn't intrude on the controller, same as how the Elite controller does, right? But it's like again, like this was $20.
Yeah,
the Xbox Elite controller is like $200 for my opinion, a minimal amount of customization.
I got you.
But I guess also like I don't know, maybe biased because I am technically a mouse and keyboard player for the most part. So like I know if I'm paying $200, I better be getting like an insane difference of control. You know what I mean? I guess it could be that as well too.
To be fair, I got it when I was working at GameStop. So it was way cheaper than $200.
Then worth it. Then it's worth it. Yeah, exactly.
Right. So, and the other thing too is like I used the crap out of this thing on everything. So I used it on my Xbox. I used it on PC.
Yeah,
it was my primary PC controller.
Okay, that's fair.
And I got my money's worth. So trust me on that. It has since seen better days. I haven't put it down the pasture yet.
My only issue is like I understand all the extra, the features to it. It's $200, man. That's rough for me.
Yeah.
Because my brother went down the rabbit hole and Because we'll go ahead and segue this into good controllers, and one of the first ones on my list is the PS4 controller.
Right, that's basically my number 6.
No, there you go. So
right, so I do enjoy this controller.
So the PS4 controller is, again, it fixed the issues that the PS3 controller had with the shitty L2R2. They made actual triggers. They hooked them up instead of hooking them down. The touchpad's whatever, it's kind of there. You kind of just use it an extra button. But like overall, the shape of the controller, they smoothed it out a little bit, made the controller a little bit wider, and I mean, they really didn't do a whole lot with the weird little plug-in on the bottom thing, but they did do some cool stuff, like this thing, the extra back button attachment thing. Mm-hmm. It's a good controller. And again, like for this thing, for this controller, and then my brother went down like the Battle Beaver Custom. Which is a competitor stuff essentially, where you can get like hairpin like little button triggers for the things. Like again, the customization stuff is cool and all. But like this is, again, $20. I got back pedals. I've got a really good controller. They've done this really nice little. It's like it's convex but concave. There's like a concave ring, so your thumb kind of sits a little bit comfortably in there. But if you like the convex feel, it's there for you as well too. The Sony D-pad is still one of my favorite D-pads. It's a full single piece, but they just have it kind of like sectioned off by curving them into the controller, and it just feels right. It's like it's smooth. It doesn't dig into my thumb for like long sessions. The share and start option button is like they're skinny, but they're out of the way, but they're still like reachable with no issues. The only thing, again, complaint is like the touchpad is not used enough for most games.
Thank God.
Yeah, I guess you're fine, but at least it's there for if you need another button to do something in game, which is cool. This is one of my favorite controllers. I spent a lot of time playing PS4. I was mostly PS4 during that Xbox One PS4 era. Yeah, and this is still one of my favorite controllers. Like it's funny. I actually my brother and I talked about this before, where we got back into Gears 5 on PC, and I was like, I made this statement. I was like, I'm playing Gears 5 on my computer with a PS4 controller. Right. This feels wrong, but feels so much more right than it used to back in the day. Because I'm also a big fan of parallel sticks. Yeah. Like the symmetrical layout. My hands are the same. My left and right hands are the same. I keep them the same for me. This is more comfortable than having the offset sticks. Personal preference thing, but I like this. I love this controller.
No, I agree with you. I think the system, I think the Sony kind of feel, right? They did this right from the DualShock 1 basically on, right? Yeah. The general layout, triggers basically notwithstanding, right? So basically all they had to do were little tweaks here and there, and that's what they did. Mm-hmm.
Make it more comfortable to hold.
Right. So I do like the more cylindrical grips to the handle versus the more, I don't want to call them rectangles, but there's
almost trapezoidal.
Yeah, that's basically like a trapezoid. Right?
Kind of like from like a side view, from like a bottom view.
Almost like a parallelogram. Yeah. It's just like a nondescript shape to them, but I get it, and I of all the PlayStation controllers, this is probably my second favorite. But I do think I do tend to agree with you that this is a really well made controller. Like I said, it just missed my list.
Yeah, like I mean, we kind of bounced between both.
I had both.
You had both, right? Yes. Yeah, so we've spent enough time with both controllers, basically. Yep. Yeah, for me, this is just like Sony did right by this one. They really, really did. And I haven't spent enough time with the PS5 controller. That's one reason why I didn't put it on my list, but I think it's like worth an honorable mention right now. I like that they filled out the PS5 controller a little bit more. Yeah. It doesn't feel like an Xbox controller because, again, the parallel sticks to me, the symmetrical sticks. I just had a stroke right there. But they filled it out a little bit more, so again, it's a nice meaty grip to feel onto. Mm-hmm. I know you said you didn't really particularly like the PS5 so far, right?
In my limited time with it, I haven't really enjoyed it too much.
Yeah, so we don't put it on either one of our lists because we're not versed enough, I guess, holding it. Like, we didn't spend enough time with it yet.
Right, because, I mean, we're just going to play everything on PC anyway. Exactly. And it's not like you can get them. You can't just walk into a store and get them at this point. Still 2-3 years in. Yeah. It's crazy. But I have no qualms about the PS4 controller. I still use my PS4 all the time. Yeah. Because when the baby's asleep and I'm in the living room, I fire something up.
Also, another thing too with the PS4 versus the Xbox controller gets a little loud. Like, it's really clicky.
It can be, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the shoulder, especially the bumpers. The
bumpers are definitely the loudest part.
These are more of like a membrane-ish kind of feel. And I know like membrane grows, right? But like most of the buttons on your controller are already membrane anyway. Right. So like, why does it matter? It's like it's a firm membrane. Still feels good when you push it into it. You know when it goes off. It's a good controller, and also it's not heavy. That's another thing too. Like because it has a lot of empty space behind it, so it doesn't leave a lot on the sides basically.
Gotcha. All right, I'm gonna go. My number 5 here is on your list too. We can touch on this. It's the Super Nintendo controller. I think for what it was at the time, it was definitely revolutionary. In that it added 2 more face buttons and the triggers, right?
The shoulder
buttons, and it just it looks so 90s. It's so cool.
Yeah, and it's curved. Like that's a big thing for me. Like it's just properly rounded, so it kind of fits in the palm properly.
Yeah,
and even if you don't palm it all the way, it just has it's not offensive. There's no harsh curves or seams on the back of it. They've made sure that the seams are all kind of out of the way. The best D-pad ever made. I'm gonna say this. I think the best D-pad ever made.
Huh.
It's a big chunky D-pad.
Yeah.
Even my actual SNES. So Jeff's holding an SN30 Pro, which is a modernized version of it with thumbsticks. Essentially, it's meant for like the Switch, basically. And that's like that used to be my travel controller. Like I would put that in my bag if I'm traveling. Instead of using the Joy-Cons, I would use that thing basically instead. And I still play that on my computer because if I'm playing like Spelunky, Hollow Knight, any platformers, I want that big, generous, chunky D-pad. And again, a very, very good firm membrane.
This controller was made for platformers. Like playing Mario on this is
right.
Nothing else matches.
Right. Yeah.
Nothing else matches it. You talk about again convex and concave. The convex run button with the concave run button with the convex jump button just feels right. Everything feels right. I love this controller, and I this is another one that I spent a lot of time with.
Yeah, and because I think again, I'm a stickler on D-pad specifically for platformers. It's like even though I occasionally play if I'm just like lazy and I'm just like I don't feel like switching over. I'll use a thumbstick, but like certain games that require a D-pad like for just kind of accuracy essentially. Mm-hmm. Look at the SNES D-pad and then compare it to like a Switch Pro controller D-pad. Mm-hmm. It is substantially smaller. It's wild how small Nintendo got away from their own D-pad basically. Yeah, it kind of bothers me. And it's still a decent D-pad for the Switch Pro controller, but like, why'd you shrink it? You know what I mean? Like, leave it there. Like, a bigger D-pad is still good. You know, especially for people who aren't used to controllers. Like, let it still be like very big, very tactile for people to use. Don't shrink away just because you think that like everyone else is doing it. Don't do that as well too.
Yep. I got you.
Yeah, I'm with you on this. As NES controller, top tier, absolutely up there
for sure.
So let's see here. For my next, we talked about the Dreamcast already. That's perfectly fine. That was our first not controversial, but like I guess our argumentative one, right?
Yep,
because
for sure.
Yeah, so I like the Dreamcast controller. Jeff technically likes the Dreamcast controller. Except for the fact that like
the way it sits in my hands, my big fat hands.
Yeah, for like over long sessions, it hurts him over time. For me, it's like just right. For again, the only complaint that I personally have is that cable again runs on the bottom, and there's a cable run on the back of the controller. Like, but that's because they have the VM. What's it called the
VMU.
The VMU, exactly. That's so like it has to be out of the way. They can't have any more circuitry there because they have circuitry for the VMU add-on for the controller. I get it; it's fine. But for the rest of the thing, everything else, yeah, like the layout, it's good. It's a good layout. It's not my favorite D-pad. But the thumbsticks, again, that's a big deal for me. Great thumbstick. And again, Hall effect. Like I know a lot of people. That's kind of the hype right now. The Hall effect thumbstick to get rid of stick drift because every controller has stick drift now. Like you know, like everyone's complaining about the Xbox, the PS,
the Switch,
everyone's complaining about it nowadays, but like you know, this control, like again, like the Hall effect sensors, so they're not drift proof, right? They're not drift proof, but theoretically, and in terms of like how they're made, and they should resist drifting better than current analog potentiometer sticks because of the fact that there's no rubbing against anything and things don't get worn away. It's using magnets to sense things. Basically, is it not as accurate? Arguably, yes. But at least the stick won't go bad on you theoretically in a longer amount of time. There's a reason why these controllers, I still have the original one, and I have no complaints at all with the thumbstick on this one because like the N64, perfect example, right? That has an analog thumbstick, and eventually it wears away so much that it kind of just wiggles. You know what I mean? It doesn't really sit like perfectly upright anymore. Mm-hmm. This control, I popped this out of Gabe's room recently, just I was taking account of like our collections and stuff like that. I'm like, this thing still feels good. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's really, it still feels good in the hand. The thumbstick feels really nice. And just, again, theoretically, it should just last even longer down the line. It won't have any issues, like drifting left or right, basically, even if we plug it back in.
That is one of the things that I've noticed about this thing. It's supposed to be, what, no, 30, 23.
20-something years old now? Yeah.
Feels just like it was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Like the controllers feel exactly the same.
It doesn't feel like it wore away,
Nope,
basically.
not at all.
Yeah, good controller. But again, Jeff and I have a little bit of different opinions just because his hands are a little bit bigger. I guess not as comfortable for him in the long run.
Yeah, I don't know what it was, man. It's just that's like the only downside that I had to this thing. But otherwise, I love the controller.
Yeah. So quickly moving past the Dreamcast controller, one of my favorite controllers here, another Nintendo one.
I'm shocked at this.
Really?
Oh yeah.
So the Wii U Pro controller. I know a lot of people didn't have a Wii U, so that's already one thing. Right. So not a lot of people had the Wii U in the first place, but damn, hit the microphone. But same thing happens here. D-pad is in the lower section. If you're looking at a picture, it's in the lower section, and the buttons on the lower area as well too, which seems a little weird because like the offset controllers already have the D-pad lower, right, and the left thumbstick higher. This one lowers the buttons down as well to the center. And the reason why I like this so much is because this is made for platformers as well. Like, so if you look in, like, if you grip it right off the bat, your thumbs go to the right place.
Yeah.
D-pad and the buttons.
Yeah. Okay.
And if you're, and like, the Wii U wasn't really known for like shooters anyway, so it's like there's no need to have the right thumbstick really front and center. They raised them, so they're parallel sticks, but they're reversed basically from the PlayStation controller. Again, if you need movement stuff, it's perfectly fine having the left thumbstick there. The right thumbstick is the oddity of this controller.
It is. That's the thing that has like kept me from really embracing this controller for so long.
But again, for me, I'm a big platformer guy. I love that they still have a relatively big D-pad. Again, one of the best membranes in the game.
Yep.
And the same, really sharp membranes on the face buttons as well too. And if I remember correctly, this had gyro controls as well too. It was relatively early on the gyro controls. But yeah, it's a good controller. Again, really good for platformers. That's why I like the controller a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. You're up for your next controller?
So for my number 4, I'm going with the PS2. I don't know what it was. Of all of them, especially just based on what it was at the time.
Yeah.
It kind of felt like the old standby, kind of like, I don't want to call it perfect, but for the time period, it just kind of felt right. I don't know how else to describe it. It just felt like they got it.
They had it, yeah. Like, because again, there was very minor changes from the PS1 to the PS2 controller. Very, very, very minor changes.
Right.
And I to the point where, like, if I'm not looking at a spec sheet, I don't really know. But I know for a fact when I hold one,
there's a difference.
There is a difference.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if it's like slightly wider or they changed the texture on the face buttons or something, but it just feels right.
It
basically.
does. It does. I think the other thing too, you see how Lakan's holding the PS1 DualShock. The R2 and L2 on the PS2 controller, I want to say, are a little different. They're not. I don't know if it's as raised. I don't know if there is sort of a difference to it, but it feels like there is something a little different to it. And
yeah, like I know what you mean.
Yeah. I don't know. Just and it, for me, it always kind of felt like no matter what I was playing, the controller worked for it. So when you're playing sports games, the controller worked fine. Platformers, it worked fine. Fighting games worked good. Lakan's rummaging through his stuff looking for a PS2 controller right now. My microphone's picking it up.
Sorry.
So I'm trying.
You're supposed to bring attention to it, Jeff. No.
It's all right. Just leave it in. It's fine. Like everything else, just leave it all in. We talk often about controllers being perfect for their textbook games, right? You can tell, like there's a little bit more muscle to it. There's a little bit more of a
heavier too, I think, right, in comparison. Because the PS1 controller does feel like more like a toy.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. This feels like an actual controller. There's a little bit more girth to it. It feels heavy, but it feels, like I said, it feels kind of right.
Here, swap real quick. We're trading. I now have a PS2 controller in my hand. Jeff has a PS1 controller in his hand.
You're right. This does feel lighter. The PS1 controller does feel lighter. The PS2 controller feels a little heavier.
Wider, isn't it? It's a little wider,
and it does feel a little wider. Let's see.
I don't know comparison. Just eyeing it. Might be the same.
I don't know. No, I think there's got to be something different to it.
Yeah, I know what you mean though. It could just be placebo, but it just feels right though. It genuinely just feels more solid.
The control sticks feel better too on the PS2.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what it is. I think they just kind of figured out the right amount of tension and give to these controllers.
Because the PS1 sticks were pretty stiff, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I mean you feel them.
People prefer stiff. Some people prefer penis. Some people prefer stiffer joysticks, but like I don't know. I mean, it's like it feels doesn't feel worn in, like like wobbly, right? It just feels like it's supposed to be this way.
Right. I don't know what it is, but it just feels like everything felt right, and it felt right to play any kind of game in it. No matter what you were playing, the controller just feels right. I don't know. I know this isn't really like in-depth reporting here.
Yeah.
But if you've played with this controller and if you've played a multitude of PS2 games, you know what I'm talking about. Everything feels right with a PS2 controller. When you're playing on a PS2 and you have the PS2 controller, it doesn't feel like this isn't designed for this type of game. Whether you're playing a sports game, whether you're playing fighting games, you're playing shooters, you're playing Grand Theft Auto, you're playing Parappa the Rapper, you're playing Lego whatever the fuck, it all feels right. And it all feels comfortable, and it all feels like...
It might be like tolerances, too. Like, I think the buttons feel less wobbly on that one. I don't know. It also could be like that, like a less warning controller than my other controller, too.
It might be.
It could be that, too. But no, I get you. I know exactly what you mean. It could also be like that games were kind of hitting their stride around this time. Like, the PS2, there's a reason why the PS2 is the most popular console ever sold. Yep. So, like, it just worked for everything, basically. Right. You know what I mean? So it is kind of like a Swiss Army knife where it covers whatever game you want to play it on.
The other thing, too, I like is that there's no gimmicks. There's no, like, gimmicks on this thing. So, like, the PS3 controller has the 6-axis...
The gyro, which is, like...
dual shock
it's like,
shit.
But it doesn't use it for anything, like, worthwhile anyway.
Right.
You know what I mean?
No touch controls, no motion, no movement, no out-of-place triggers, no big wonky buttons, which is ironic because the next controller on my list suffers from that. It's just... It's the Ryu of fighting game controllers. I think that's why I just like it so much. It's Ryu. It's just the ordinary guy.
It's a true neutral of all controllers, but like that's why it just does it well.
It's the ordinary guy that just does its job and goes home. And I think that's why I appreciate it so much.
Also built like tanks, because these things, even though we said like you
could whip these across the room.
I remember specific nights of like friends getting angry and throwing one of these, and I was like very upset that they threw the controller to like pick it up and realize it did not care.
It's fine.
It just did not care.
That's fine.
Versus throwing like a the Duke, where the Duke will break your window. And
right.
But this thing was like, this thing's like it's solid without being like offensively heavy. That's just kind of like they're just very very built well.
It does its job. It's the milk pail, lunch pail, whole milk. Pot roast kind of controller.
I love this thing. Pittsburgh.
Yep, exactly. The Pittsburgh Steelers of controllers, just hardworking and does its job. All right, my number 3, because you have only 2 left, right?
I have 2 left. Yeah, okay. I skipped over Dreamcast. So we already talked about it. That's why.
So number 3 is the GameCube controller.
You should have stopped me on my rant earlier.
No, I just wanted to hear you. No, I just wanted to hear what you had to say.
Let's go ahead and hear from your side, from a person who actually enjoys it. Go ahead. Go.
I don't know. It's just comfy. It's such a comfortable controller. Really? I will tell you 2 things that I do not like about the GameCube controller, though. The D-pad sucks.
Terrible. Yeah, terrible.
The D-pad sucks. Luckily, no games use it. I don't think
not
games
really
use it exclusively for movement. Everything kind of uses that stick.
Yeah.
The control stick.
The octagonal gated stick.
I do like that.
Yeah, gated stick. I do like that because for like Smash. You know what I mean? Like that's the one thing I enjoyed, because like I remember like thinking like, I should probably cut divots into my Pro controller. My Switch Pro controller. I was like, so just so I know when I'm hitting diagonals.
Right. Yeah. And think about also, too, the evolution. We just talked about how shitty the N64 controller was and how the GameCube kind of righted all those wrongs. Think about, like, the PS4 controller. It righted the wrongs of the PS3 controller with the triggers and kind of got rid of those trapezoidal grips for the cylindrical grips. The GameCube controller kind of gets rid of the dick, basically, the penis. It moves it to a more natural feeling position. The C buttons get replaced by an entire stick.
A terrible thumbstick, though. I hate the C stick.
I know it's like a nipple, but I mean,
don't like it. It just doesn't. Again, I think it shares the same octagonal gate as well.
It does
too, but it's like it feels useless. Like it didn't really get used a lot in a lot of games, and when they did use it, it just didn't feel good to me because it's not a hearty, meaty stick.
Right.
And I remember seeing people modding those controls. So people would mod the C stick to have the same as the left analog stick to put it on there, basically. And like, that makes a lot of sense, because like, if your movement feels satisfying, but then like your other control feels like garbage, basically.
Yep. No, I get it. I appreciated the the shoulder buttons.
I did not like the analog triggers for that one.
The other thing I will say
so
that
much travel.
No, I know it. I don't know. It felt comfortable for me. I liked the way that they were grooved a little bit, and your fingers could rest in there.
You're fine being wrong. It's fine.
No, it's fine. The other thing I will say, only having 7 buttons made most games not great.
That was weird
because it had the Z on the right bumper,
side,
but it didn't have a matching one.
Yeah.
So
you can buy like knockoffs that had like the secondary. They basically just wired that same button,
right? Or it was like customizable where it would just replace one of the other buttons on there, but it never acted as its own button. But I don't know, man. It felt super comfortable, especially when you're playing like the Nintendo first party games. I don't know. It felt right.
Yeah. So the thing is, like with the GameCube controller, I know I was shitting on people for why they like it and all that. And I don't like the controller. It's perfectly fine. It's my opinion. It's like you're welcome to enjoy whatever you like. Like I know people make the argument that the A button is dead center, front and center, like because most of the games you play on the Nintendo system, specifically the first party games, the A button is like the main button. You know what I mean? That's usually your jump, your interact. Your B is like, it's also colored, so you see it. You're like, okay, this is your next most important button. And then like your X and your Y button are kind of like your auxiliary stuff. They're kind of out of the way. They're smaller. The beans, they're bean shaped, right?
Yep.
I get the theory behind the controller. I hate the way it feels in my hand. I really don't like the way this controller is. And again, if you like it, you like it. It's perfectly fine. You're dumb, but like.
All right, I guess I'm just a fucking mouth breather. All right, I guess.
My whole rant earlier was, "Holy shit!" You were just like, "You let me roll. You let me roll in that rant, dude."
Hey, it's your opinion.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
It's not for me. It's not. Like. Because I think the issue is like I remember like there was a while ago where people were trying to salvage as many game controllers they could because when Smash 4 came out, when they announced that Smash 4 will be available and the
then they had the GameCube
the port adapter thing, right? And people were like trying to salvage the analog bumpers, the analog triggers basically, and it was like people were like, "Yo, our springs are going out, our sensors going bad, or whatever," and it's like people are like cannibalizing dead controllers to try to revive whatever they got now. Now that like there are third-party controllers that are almost as if not as good as the original controller nowadays, and Nintendo still makes the GameCube controller. Right. That's the thing. So like clearly people love this controller. I'm just not one of them, so that's perfectly fine. But clearly because they have that following and people who do they still make them. And again, they're just as good, if not, the third parties are just as good, if not better, or or equal to the Nintendo-made GameCube controllers, even of the olden days, basically, because they're fresher, they got new rubber bands, new springs, and everything. You know what I mean? So it's like they theoretically are competitors to the older ones.
Gotcha.
Yeah, now I just feel like dumb because I was like looking at you after my rant from earlier. I was like, I just called everyone a fucking mouth breather who like the GameCube controller.
No, it's fine. Because you know what? Nintendo still makes them, and you're the one sitting here.
Bitching and complaining about
my stupid Wii U controller is the best one.
Leave the Wii U controller out of here, damn it.
Ugly Wii U controller with the 2 sticks on the top of the fucking face. That's true. That's the good stuff. The one that they're still making after 20 years. That sucks.
Yeah.
Of my dumb fucking Wii U that nobody bought.
Hey,
my
man.
dumb fucking controller. That's the good one.
The Wii U's a good console. Damn it.
Yeah, I'm going to have my parallel sticks. I'll play Devil's Third.
And Wonderful 101.
Yeah.
And other...
Bayonetta.
Other good Wii U games.
Yeah. That aren't ported to the Switch.
Yeah. True.
So how good are they?
Yeah.
Just kidding. No, they're all good. All right, what's your number 2? Okay. I see your number 1 and your number 2.
I've got 2 they feel a little bit like a cop out.
They are cop outs. They didn't come with a system.
Yeah, but the thing is, but controllers and but in terms of the controllers, there's a reason why these have stuck around for so long. Right?
I know.
So Jeff agrees that this is a bit of a cop out, but the fight stick.
Right.
The fight stick is like the quintessential like fighting game controller. First off, I mean, yeah, there are people who play professionally with controllers nowadays, with gamepads nowadays, but like, there's just a feeling of like when I go to an arcade and I see like like X-Men beat 'em up or the Simpsons beat 'em up, I'm like, yeah, here we go, the fight stick. This is what it's all about.
Mm-hmm.
Like even certain days I'll plug this into my Switch. and I'll just play like a platformer with it. You know what I mean? Just like it just feels good to have it in my hand, kind of thing again.
Right.
So like the fight, and also they're super cool. They're like customizable. You know what I mean? You can make one out of a shoebox if you really want to. A lot of fight sticks you can kind of remove the top panel, put a picture on there if you wanted to, and then just like cover it with plastic again, and then you can now you've personalized one basically. Yeah, like I was very late into fight sticks. I was a controller player for most of the fighting games I played. I played Tekken, and I played mostly on gamepad basically. But once I shifted over, I'm now a person who can play both now relatively comfortably. But like there's just like there's like a very good like tactile feeling of why I like the fight stick so much.
There's nothing like playing video games with an arcade stick. There's nothing like it. I mean, that's why arcades are so cathartic and so fun.
Yeah.
Because there's just nothing like playing games with an arcade stick. Whether it's a fighting game, beat 'em up, shoot 'em up, like
exactly.
games like that. Even like the old arcade games, playing Donkey Kong with a with an arcade stick is awesome.
Yeah.
Galaga, Pac-Man, playing all those old games with an arcade stick, there's nothing quite like it. I get it completely. Yeah. Obviously, I'm not going to fight you on this.
Yeah,
I never would.
Yeah, but like it's a bit of a cop out in regards to our.
It's a huge
our
cop
show,
out.
But like, and so is my last.
Yeah, it is. Here, but it's just you're a fucking asshole. I'm just going to tell you, you're a fucking asshole. The whole fucking point of this is video game controllers, but. But it's whatever. You already did it, so it's fine. I'm just gonna do it anyway. But I agree with you 1,000% on. I agree with you on both of them.
Yeah,
they are the superior way to play everything, basically, except for platformers. But it's a cop out.
Yeah, it is.
Come on.
Okay.
But no. Like the arcade stick is awesome. As long as we're talking like the traditional 6 and/or 8 button layout. We're not talking like the Mortal Kombat Cross.
Yeah. No. Jesus Christ. Absolutely
right.
not.
Even playing Mortal Kombat with like a traditional.
No one plays it with the.
With the cross. No one does it like that anymore.
Absolutely not.
All right. My number 2 is the 360 controller. Like I said,
I'm with you. Yeah. If I was to remove the fight stick as a cop out, I said it before. The 360 is the best Xbox controller.
Yeah. No. Okay.
I said it.
Yeah. No. You did say it. You were right. Yeah. No, you were right. And it is. Again, you talk about righting the sins of the past controller.
Yeah.
So instead of having the black and white buttons on the face, they put them on the bumpers, right?
Yeah.
So they adjusted the thumbsticks a little bit. The pad is different. The pad is like the Lakan's searching for one now. Oh, look what he has. A GameCube controller. Fraud. Yeah, thank you. Ooh. I always appreciated the wired ones. The wired ones are a little less beefy than
I always prefer the wired ones, yeah.
Yeah, the wired ones are a little less beefy than the wireless ones. This is the one thing that always kind of happens with the bumpers, though. They do kind of start to get stuck. I appreciate the raised D-pad.
It's better than before. I will acknowledge it's better than before. I'm still not a huge fan of it, but like in terms of like layout, it's a good controller. Again, the bumpers get a little bit loud. That's my only real complaint about them. The triggers are perfect.
Yeah,
the triggers are like actually like really really good.
No, yeah, and even like when you have a fresh thumb stick and the grip is unparalleled.
Oh yeah, unfortunately, all of them just wear away so damn fast though.
I know.
I think they use like a softer rubber. I want to say
probably.
That like so there's like 4. So if you don't recall, listener, there are like 4 dots in like the cardinal directions basically on the thumbstick. That don't really need to be there, but it just feels nice to have them there, right?
It does.
But then, like they just wear away so fast. I'm assuming it's just because it's kind of a grippy rubber, right?
Yeah,
in terms of like the thumbstick.
It is.
Yeah.
But there's nothing like it when everything's working as it should. There's nothing quite like how good the 360 controller is for everything. And I think about what you're playing with this too. You're playing mostly shooters where you need these triggers to be super responsive and you need them to be super on point. Same thing with the control sticks, right? You need the sticks to be good too. These are the most important things, and this controller does it better than just about anything else out there.
Yeah. For me, again, it comes down to like a preference thing. Like I said before, like I prefer symmetrical sticks. That's just my personal preference for layout. But that being said, as I was that one guy like in the friend group, like guys, I swear the PS3 is good. Guys, I swear the PS3 is a good system. Like it was genuinely hard for me to argue, especially back in the day, for like why do I like why, like, I wish this controller was available to play on the PS3.
Yeah.
Because, again, as I said before, the triggers were so bad on the PS3 that it made me genuinely angry. I was like, damn, they did this right. This feels exactly where I want it to be.
Yep.
And, and I know there's like third-party controllers that like allows you to move the buttons, like the buttons down or the sticks down or D-pad up kind of thing. It's really cool, but like nowadays everything's kind of plug and play for the most part. Like you know, in terms of PC stuff, because I get most stuff on PC, that like I can just play a Xbox game now on my computer with a PS4 controller, and that just kind of feels right. But like again, the triggers are just right. They're nice and light, but like they don't feel cheap. You know what I mean?
Definitely not.
And but again, light that you can kind of like. You can fly on this thing basically. Yeah. So yeah, it's up there. I absolutely I'm with you on this controller. Again, if I didn't do the cop out with the fight stick, this would be on my list.
All right, do your last cop out. And fucking
my last cop out over here because I'm
just rub your fucking nipples the whole time while you do this.
So good. I love being a PC gamer because the best control scheme ever made is mouse and keyboard. Infinite customizability. Make your own keyboard. You want a full keyboard? Screw it. Do it. Get all the number pad. Do it all up. Get a little gamepad. The little like 50% keyboards. That just like your WASD and like 4 rows of buttons basically. Mice. You know what I mean? Like I'm very picky with my mouse and nowadays. Yeah, again, it's a cop out. I'm perfectly fine. I'll acknowledge it. But the thing is, like especially once I switched over to like my gaming laptop and then now to my proper gaming PC. I had to relearn how to play, and then now that I'm like in it, I can't go back. Whenever Jeff gives me a game to play on the on the PS4, I busted out my PS3 for Jonathan, right? It's like any game that involves like shooting, you know what I mean? I was like, please tell me I can like plug a mouse and keyboard into my console and just play it that way. I even almost considered getting a Zim when I was playing Doom. Mm-hmm. Like so I can trick my PS4 to let me play Doom on with a mouse and keyboard. Yeah. Until we ended up acquiring it on Steam anyway because it was on sale.
Oh no, I bought it. I didn't acquire it. I bought it.
Yeah, no, I'm saying you acquired it. I'm saying you got it.
No, acquiring means other things.
True. Okay, fair, whatever. So when Jeff bought it and it happened to be on sale on Steam, so it worked out for us anyway. But like before that, I was like, I might just buy like $100 adapter. Just like I don't have to
instead of buying the $20 game on Steam.
Well, no, it's just because it would be for like anything else you would give me on PS4.
Oh, that's true.
You know what I mean? It was like anything because around the time I was also playing Uncharted, and I'm like, man, I've played on a controller. Why do my hands feel so dumb? But that's what it is though. It's because I spend so much of my time playing on mouse and keyboard. And again, you see my setup. It is very like. It's for me. It's like my wrist rest, my nice keyboard here, my wrist rest for my my mouse hand, my ergonomic mouse that you're messing with basically right now, right? It's really comfortable. I can spend all day on this thing and not have like those like a lot of people say make fun of like the nerdy gamer, just like the WoW like the WoW meme, the WoW meme
right
guy,
from South Park, yeah,
it's like just recline all the way back and like. Resting his hands on, just basically like all stretched out and covered in Cheeto dust and all that stuff. Yeah, fine, whatever. I'm that gamer, but like no, it's just something about like being able to like have everything, as many buttons as I want, anything that I need technically at my fingertips, basically.
Look at this thing.
I have one of these.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
That's pretty cool. We are looking at the Easy Tone backlit mini wireless keyboard with touchpad. Oh, you do have one. That's pretty sweet.
So that's a different brand, but it's basically the same thing. Where so it's like a touchpad on the top of it, and then you have like a membrane, like a keyboard essentially. I actually use that when I plug my my TV's plugged in to my computer, so I have essentially a big like 40-50 inch screen showing like whatever I'm using. Sometimes I'll have the chat on there.
Okay.
And instead of constantly pulling out my phone every 5 minutes to message the chat. I'll just have the chat open while I'm watching a YouTube video, and I can just type back on here.
That's pretty sweet.
And I just keep this in my pocket.
That is pretty sweet.
And I don't have to do like the whole unlock my phone, think whatever, and then find the app and do and so forth.
Gotcha. That is pretty sweet. Yeah. All right.
So that's my last cop out. Yeah, but like yeah, I mean again, I'm a PC guy. That's it's my main way how I interact with video games in the first place. So that it's basically it for me.
Yep. My number one's the Xbox One controller. And also by proxy, then the Series X controller. Man, I love it. I don't know, man. I love it. From the minute I held this controller for the first time, I fell in love with this controller. It's just the control sticks are great. Now remember, I will say I never really played. Well, I did play with the traditional Xbox One controller. A lot of this has me be like I was playing this with the Elite controller, right? So for me, like I had the fighting game D-pad, so I didn't use like the original D-pad, but I didn't mind. Yeah. I didn't mind the regular D-pad. I don't know, man. It's just everything feels just like with the PS2. Everything kind of feels comfortable with this controller, no matter what you're playing. Whether you're playing emulators, whether you're playing actual PC games, whether you're playing Xbox games. I like the staggered sticks. I love the triggers. I love the triggers. They don't make any noise. You just kind of can go nuts on them. I will say, like, I do agree with the bumpers being kind of weird and loud, right? I love the materials that the controller is made out of. I feel like it's one of the most comfortable controllers on the market. The face buttons are comfortable. The sticks are great.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I know. It's my favorite. And now, like, the Series S upgrades where now they all come standard with that hex, like that 8-way D-pad, like the fighting game D-pad.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
They have like the grips on the back of the controller, so you do feel a little bit more. I don't know how to say it, but like the R1 and the L1, or the right bumper and left bumper, have like a little bit more of a spring to them. I feel like they have a little bit more pep in their step.
Okay.
And I don't know, it feels just so much more comfortable. I love this controller. I know you're mad at the world, you're mad at me, but
no, it's fine.
I love this controller. Yeah. It's the one. It's definitely one of the ones that I've used the most.
Yeah, because I mentioned before, my main complaint is that it feels very narrow at the top, and it feels like it's sliding out of my hands at all times.
Okay.
So I know they're doing a lot of things with the texture, and I get it. I you know, like a bit of a hypocrite because I have a Gully controller which is shaped exactly like an Xbox Series controller. I mean, I also acknowledge as well, like the reason when I play with this controller, I like kind of have to I keep it against like my stomach essentially because I don't know what it is. Like, subconsciously, it feels like it just wants to escape out of my hands at all times. Like, you know, like it feels so narrow at the top. It's like it's almost like a triangle. It feels like to me. So like, you know, it starts getting cramped up here, and then it feels like it's sliding out of my hands.
It does look really uncomfortable for you for some reason. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, and again, our hands are relatively similar. Yours is a little bit bigger than mine, so that's why I'm surprised that you like this controller so much. Like, it just for me, it just feels so cramped up here.
I don't know. It's just the controller that I used for everything. For a long time.
Because again, like I remember I was the same way when I was like because I remember the moment I first held one of these controllers, I was like, oh, that's it looks good. I remember when they were just coming out, right? Because we're thinking, okay, so they're gonna smooth this out, probably make it a little bit sharper, you know, because that was kind of what the trends were kind of going at the time, right? Correct. Going from I'm holding an Xbox 360 controller in my hand right now.
Yeah.
And so when I saw this controller, I was like, okay, like theoretically, I should like this because it's nice and clean. You know, again, kind of like the same thing, but better. That's essentially what all of the things kind of looked like initially early on. And then I remember holding it for the first time, and I was playing. I came to the Xbox late because we all got PS4s because of like Microsoft's being dumb. Remember the beginning?
Right? Yeah.
They were like no game sharing. Like you had to pay like money to like if you bought a game from somebody pre-owned. Like
you had to like buy the license fee or something like that.
Stupid like that. So like we all jumped ship essentially to PS4 because they just made it so easy. And then I remember I got into the Xbox One. The Xbox One's kind of late, and I remember like I was like, "Oh, cool! I can finally check out the controller now." And I remember like something just feels off with this for me. And again, like it's all ergonomics and however you think of the controller and however you personally feel about it, right? Just whatever the hell it is, like it doesn't feel right in my hands. And again, you know, it's like it just doesn't look right, you know, in my hands for some reason. It just feels uncomfortable for me. But, you know, again, I get it. You like this controller. It's perfectly fine. Again, they do have good triggers. Like, I will acknowledge that like, the triggers are some of the best in the game. Like, there's a reason why all the third-party controller knockoffs basically try to emulate this controller.
Yeah.
And also, plug-and-play capability. This works on Linux, on Windows, you know what I mean? On the console itself, obviously. They work between the Xbox One and the Series X, if I remember correctly, as well, too. Yeah, it's just really. I mean, yeah, sure. PCs, of course, are running on Microsoft Windows, but like, it's plug and play. There's like no issues at all, no driver issues. Like, no, this is our stuff. This is all essentially proprietary.
No joy mapping for the PlayStation controllers. And like,
luckily, the newer controllers for PlayStation just work now. Yeah. But back in the day, like trying to plug in a PS3 controller into my PC. sucks.
Yeah.
Like I tried doing it for a couple of emulators before, and I was like, this is so much work for me just to get just one damn thing to work, basically.
Yep, exactly.
No, I get it. I understand that, if you like this controller, you like this controller. It's just not for me. I ended up, and again, I sound like a Sony fanboy, but I prefer the Sony controller.
Oh, you are.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I grew up with all the consoles though. Like,
I know.
I grew up with them.
That's
like,
okay.
And I like this controller. I had to admit that the Xbox 360 controller was better than the PS3 controller.
Yeah.
Because again, the first, or at least one of the most important point of contact is good. The trigger is amazing on this thing, while the PS3 just fumbled the hell out of it, basically.
Completely fucked it up. Yep.
Yeah. Do you have any honorable mentions for you here that we didn't touch upon, or like any weird controls that you really liked that like you never put onto the list, but that you can kind of think of now that we've been spending a little more time on it?
Trying to think, what's a weird controller that I'm just going through like my history,
because I've got one right here in my hands right now. This is the Google Stadia controller.
Oh yeah.
So for the people who never owned one, who is most of you, so the Google Stadia, was their like cloud gaming service thing, right?
Ooh.
So it's symmetrical, and I remember a lot of like early tech people were saying that this feels like a toy, like kind of chintzy, and then I got my hands on it, and I'm like, this feels amazing. It's got one of the best D-pads.
This D-pad
out there
is awesome
because it's a clicky D-pad.
Yeah.
It's not a membrane. It's clicky, almost like a mouse click, and also feel the cups on so look up the Google Stadia controller, listener, please, and look at the sticks. They're super deep cups, super deep cups.
Holy
like,
shit!
You cannot lose your fingers in this thing.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
This is what the Wii U should have done.
Hey, leave the Wii out of this, damn it. But yeah, no, like it's really really good. The face buttons, like they're fine. They're kind of face buttons, but the D-pad, the clicky.
Can I use this on PC?
Yeah.
Oh shit!
So with listeners and Jeff, if you buy a Stadia gamepad, you just need to plug it into your computer and update it before I think end of this year, I believe. With like there's a software update that allows it to be used on PCs. Because before it was like a proprietary Bluetooth connection to Google and Chrome and shit, basically. But basically, you just go there, download a driver update to the controller, and it automatically is perfectly fine.
I'm legit about to buy one of these. This is awesome.
Yeah, these were a little hard to come by because, like, because Stadia went away, so like, kind of people were kind of like, trying to jack up the prices of them online.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, like, no one cared about these. Like, these were free technically with the
Stadia
Chromecast
service.
Pro and the Stadia service, and like, no one cared about these. And as soon as Stadia goes down, people started jacking up prices. Luckily I got this one for like $35.
Yeah.
Along with the Chromecast Pro on eBay, and luckily I got a good deal on it. Like the guy was like, just trying to get rid of it. I'm not really trying to scalp it. I'm just trying to move. Like, thank you. I appreciate this one random dude in like I think it was in Indiana. I was like, thank you, because I was looking for this controller for a while.
Right. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's a good controller. It's weird because it's nice and comfortable in the hand. It's not super sharp. The triggers feel pretty good. They feel a little dead. Like they've there's not like they're kind of quiet, kind of like what the Xbox Series X controllers feel like, but they just don't have the same kind of spring to them. I think there's a little softer.
Yeah.
But like button layout wise, symmetrical sticks, lowered sticks, they're good. And again, the D-pad is like kind of a cool thing. The fact that it's a clicky D-pad.
It is.
Yeah.
I really dig that D-pad.
This is one of those like weird like. Man, this is a good controller. I wish that like people knew about this before the service went down, basically. Because if that's the case, I would have bought like 4 of these. You know what I mean? I would when they were like basically giving them away. Like I would have taken easily just plug these in the computer, update them, bam. Like back in the day we joke about the Mad Catz controller being the bad controller. This is like a random like not third party, but it's like not a controller you would think of when you think of like gaming for the most part. Because again, Stadia is dead, but like. I could give this to somebody, be like, "Oh, what is this? It's a little weird," but then like, kind of like, "Oh, it's kind of nice. It doesn't feel bad," Because the Mad Catz back in the day was like, "No, little brother or player 2 gets the shitty controller." This is like, no, this is a solidly built controller,
right? And
it's just really, really well made. Again, just kind of like wish they kind of just made more of these, and I kind of picked these up earlier on, basically. Let me see if I can pick these up on the.
Oh yeah,
that's the D-pad.
Let's get a little ASMR here.
Yeah. It's a cool D-pad, man. Like I can assure you, on this thing.
Yeah,
like,
that's what I was doing. That's
easily.
exactly the motion that I was doing with it before. I was trying to DP with it.
Yeah, it's cool.
So the only other controller that I can think of right now, I had a Human Torch wired original Xbox controller, and it had like the craziest control sticks of all time.
Xbox One, the original Xbox.
The original Xbox.
Okay.
I think it's Human Torch. I'm pretty sure it's Human Torch on it.
I think I see it right here. Is this what you're talking about?
No, that is not it.
Not the Mad Catz. Okay. Okay, hold on. Human Torch Xbox controller. Let's see if we can find this thing.
Hold on. Yeah, let me
Yeah,
try.
go and, yeah, go.
But
I
just, man, I don't.
Oh, I'm surprised you didn't pick the Mad Cat Street Fighter controllers, like the Mad Cat fight pads things.
So I owned one of them.
Yeah,
but I had already owned a fight stick with it. I just bought it because it looked cool. It was the Marvel vs. Capcom 3 one of those, and I was actually thinking about it the other day.
They do like the fight pad control things. They were weird to me at first because they reminded me of the shitty Sega Genesis controller. But no, they basically feel like a good version of that. Basically, that's basically what it is. Switch over to Google. I'm using DuckDuckGo right now. So if you want to switch over to Google to try to find it, it'll be easier. Because I'm over here. I'm a prepper and gonna hide my privacy, and government trying to take my information.
Yeah, like Comcast hasn't already fucking sold it. Man, I know this isn't it. This is not it.
Not the Mad Cat's Human Torch.
It might not be Human Torch though. I remember it was orange.
It was Mad Cat, you said?
I don't remember if it was. I have to look at it. I know it's at the house.
Okay.
So when I go to the house, I'm gonna go upstairs. I'm gonna go find it.
Yeah.
Because like I
send me a picture. We'll put it up on Instagram.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna put it up on the Twitter account. Too. But no, I do have this thing. I'm gonna get all the details for it, and I'm gonna put it on the site because this thing, I remember just these sticks had zero like resistance.
Really?
They would just
loose.
They were super loose. They would just fly everywhere. They were also like higher up too, so they weren't like this sort of like your traditional length.
Height,
they were way higher. So I'm gonna have to go find this thing and show you. That's the only thing that I can think of other than a lot of the other stuff. Like I use just the regular controllers for the most part.
I mean, I said as well before too, because this was a kind of our fill-in for the SNES controller, but the SN30 Pro. So I showed it off Jeff earlier. It's essentially a modernized SNES controller. So it's an SNES controller with bumpers and triggers. Curved triggers actually, which again kind of a nice thing. They're not analog because there's no way to do it on such a skinny controller. But the thumbsticks, they're just right there, like low. Again, they're kind of like lowered and out of the way. It's weird, right? Because you think, oh, it's kind of like front and center. Not really. Your focus is still on the buttons. You know, when you look at this controller.
Like when you hold this controller, the thumbsticks almost kind of feel like somebody like you just glued them on. Yeah, as like a science project.
Like they work, and they for whatever you need them to do. Like I was playing Mario Odyssey, and it's fine. Right. But they also have the Pro 2 or the Pro Plus. I forgot what the model was. So imagine this with grips on it.
Yeah.
If you want to search it up real quick, yeah. But they're SN30 8-bit do SN30 Pro Plus, I guess, whatever. Let's see if we can. Jeff's looking up a picture of it right now. There you go. He's right there.
Yeah, they are pretty cool.
There you go, right there.
Yeah.
So again, it's like a modernized SNES controller.
That is pretty sweet.
As we mentioned before, SNES controller is a good controller. Just like in general, like so, it's like you put grips on it, it feels great.
Yeah, so, that's exciting.
Yeah. And the reason why, actually, one of the reasons why I wanted to do this episode is because I'm a bit of like a grip. Like I like controllers. Like that's like a big thing for me. Like I buy weird controllers. Like I have a really skinny flat one. You know what I mean? Like for I can put them in my back pocket. It's almost like it's thin as my wallet, basically.
Right.
That hook up to the Switch. It's like, oh cool, I can not use my Joy-Cons basically. I have the Stadia controller. I have this SN30 Pro controller. I have a couple knockoff like GameCube controllers. From back in the day that had a little fan in it. Do you remember that?
Yep, I remember that controller specifically. I was thinking that I had it, but no, it was you.
Yeah, it was me. Yeah, I think that thing got thrown away years because it was so like
grody probably at that point.
Yeah, because it had holes in it because it had a fan,
sweaty hand holes.
Yeah. But it was great because like during the play, I was like, oh man, like my hands don't get all clammy and sweaty when I'm playing Melee.
Yeah,
but then like. Yeah, over time, it's like I'm just forcing more gunk into this controller. So yeah, of course it died. Like,
yeah. Jesus, that's gross.
Yeah, but
we were so gross.
Yeah, so, the Cheeto dust, the sweaty palms.
Yep.
So, yeah. But yeah, like I like weird controllers. Like, and even if not weird, I like trying to see something that's not the usual we've already seen. You know what I mean? Because like as I said before, like I try to look at iterative things and see how they've made it better and hopefully better, right? In the grand scheme of things, where like again, we went from the Xbox the Duke to the Xbox the smaller controller to the 360 again, which in my opinion is the peak Microsoft controller. And like, okay, cool. We know what the little changes are that they did, so they make them better, basically. And now we're kind of this weird space where it's like people are trying to figure out how to make a controller better. You know what I mean? Without offending the long-time controller players.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's kind of like we're at this weird point.
Right. Yeah,
nowadays.
we've basically hit like its zenith, and now it's just little tweaks here and there. That's like, oh yeah,
like paddles are cool. You know, because it helps. And yeah, we want more buttons. We want paddles. So it's like, okay, well, that's the next thing we can do that can add to the controller without drastically changing the shape of the controller. Basically,
little rubber grip on the back. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, something.
I didn't think of that.
Yeah, textures that that are like plastic, so it's easy to clean, but it doesn't slip out of your hands, kind of thing. You know, stuff like that. So these are where we currently are in the controllers, where again can't do a whole lot, because if you do, you'll end up with like an N64 situation, like, what the fuck is this? What am I supposed to do with this thing, kind of thing? You know what I mean? Even think about it when the Switch came out, the Joy-Cons were like, ooh, that's gonna be rough to play on. You know what I mean?
Especially because it's not a traditional D-pad. Basically, you have four face buttons.
Yeah, because the whole point of it is that you can pass it to a friend,
right?
And now you have 4 face buttons that were supposed to be your D-pad,
right?
So it's like it's something new, but it was like kind of offensive to a lot of people, especially early on. Especially because Nintendo fans are like the fans who play platformers. You know what I mean? They're the guys. They sold like a left-sided Joy-Con that had a proper D-pad on it because they knew that people want a proper D-pad on their controller.
Correct.
So, yeah, it's something that I thought was kind of interesting. I was curious about to see, if Jeff, we shared any opinions or, how we felt.
We did. I think this was fun. If you're still listening out there, thanks so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe to the pod, share it with your friends, let everybody know what we're doing over here. Follow us on Instagram. Lakan is active on there. I'm active on the Twitter account for now. I don't know if we're going to have a Threads or anything yet. I'm just kind of waiting and seeing how that whole thing goes.
It plays out, yeah.
But in any case, thanks for hanging with us. Let us know some of your favorite controllers, if they're different from us. If you love the GameCube controller, join Team Jeff.
Yeah, actually, yeah. We'll do a question at the bottom of this podcast.
Yeah, if you're on Spotify, if you're listening on Spotify.
We'll see who's the big dumb idiot, me or Jeff, basically.
Yep. I think that's going to be it. It's just who's right about the GameCube controller, not even the Xbox One controller. Who's right about the GameCube controller? But again, thanks so much for listening, everyone, and we'll be back in a few weeks to see you real soon.
Take care. I'll get to you. Leaving that in.